So, Roblox, the iconic game where basically there's multiple games that you can play from. However, there was one Roblox game that is very well popular, still is to this very day. However, during that time, for years, many years, me and my family had really bad internet. So I couldn't play Roblox properly because when I tried to load into a game, the connection is really bad. But there was one game that I did play along with my friends during that time when Roblox did come out for PlayStation 4. Even when having bad internet, I just had to wait for a half an hour just to load into, this one game that I actually had a major blast playing a decent amount of times. And it's actually a horror game about one of my favorite creepypastas, Sonic.EXE. What is this game that I'm talking about? Well, today, my fellow viewers, we're going to be talking about an underrated masterpiece, Sonic.exe the Disaster. So, Sonic.exe, oh boy, what do I have to say about this fucking masterpiece of a game? Well, it's simple. It's one of the best fucking underrated games I actually ever played for a long time, pretty much. Even during the time when the internet wasn't that good for my home back then, yeah, it was still a good time. And now that me and my family's got better internet, I can actually play this game more often if I please to do so. But anyways, enough talk about whatevers. It's time to talk about this underrated masterpiece, Sonic.exe Disaster. So, the first thing I'm going to be talking about is the gameplay. The gameplay, first off, let's get into something real quick. This game is clearly heavily inspired by games like Dead by Daylight. It's pretty fucking obvious, right? Anyways, Sonic.exe, inspired by Dead by Daylight, and the game and created by a solo dev, by the way, who goes by the name of Outliek. I'm sorry if I'm butchering his name there, but yeah, this game is created by a solo dev, Outliek, and yeah, this is Sonic.exe Disaster, which actually, this game actually started off a long time ago. This game used to look very different back then. Like, the game looked, pretty, basically used to look very basic at best during the old days of Roblox. But then 1.0 came out, and let's just say the game has gone a lot better. And ever since the game popularity during the time when 1.0 was released, eventually it's been getting countless of updates, eventually releasing 1.1 at some point, and as time goes on even more, then we get 1.2, which is now still receiving updates. Anyways, now we can finally talk about, important things of the games. Well, the game. First off, we're going to be talking about the gameplay. The gameplay of Sonic.exe Disaster is pretty much, as you expect. Similar gameplay as, Dead by Daylight. Just like Dead by Daylight, there is one killer versus survivors. However, in Sonic.exe TD, instead of 4 survivors, I think there's 6 or 7 survivors at best? Yeah. So, that's pretty much the whole gameplay. However, unlike Dead by Daylight, where the objective is generators, this game's objective is to pretty much survive a timer until the timer reaches to 80 seconds, and that's when the green ring, will appear for the team to jump in and escape. Very simple gameplay, yet very well done. Now, normally, Dead by Daylight, you usually have 3 chances. Your first hook, your second hook, and then you get your third hook, which is where you end up dying. In Sonic.exe the Disaster, however, you get 2 chances. When you go down once, you get down and you get a chance to get picked back up. Or, if you end up bleeding out, or you get down a second time, you're dead. However, unlike Dead by Daylight, where if you die, you're pretty much just fucking dead, and you have to, find a new match at once going back to the lobby, this game does something and actually keeps the game going regardless if a player dies or not. When you actually die a survivor, you have a chance to become the EXE. As always, you either accept being the EXE and you can help the main bad guy himself kill the other survivors. Despite being way weaker than the EXE, you can still keep playing the game to help kill the survivors. Or you can just let the timer hit 0 if you just don't really feel like it. Which means you have to just go in the lobby and spectate the match pretty much. But that is very great gameplay. Keeping the player from actually not being bored of the game after death actually encourages them to keep playing even after losing. It's actually really well done. Unlike other asym games where if you just fucking lose, like that's it, you lose. Dead by Daylight, you lose, as Survivor, you gotta go to the lobby and find a new match. No, this game actually encourages you to continue playing even after you lose. When you die as Survivor, you can become the EXE and help the EXE kill the rest of the survivors. That is fucking cool. Because then it prevents you from being fucking bored. Because, let's be honest, who the fuck does not like being tunneled fucking 100 times in a row in Dead by Daylight? Enough petty talk. Anyways, let's get to, the next thing. The characters. The characters have, multiple ways of utilizing their abilities. Every character have their own unique abilities. Let's go over to every single one of these characters. We got Tails, who defined Fox, also known as Sonic's best friend. Anyways, Tails' first and pretty much useful ability is the hand cannon. Tails will charge the hand cannon, and once it's charged, he will aim it. Press the fire button to fire the hand cannon. If it hits the EXE, it will stun them, which is pretty helpful against the team. However, getting those shots is quite difficult. Tails is a very skillful character. He has a very high skill ceiling. But once you reach that skill ceiling, he is one of the best characters and one of the most fun characters you can ever choose from. Then we got Tails' second ability, which is, his flight ability. Tails will, while in midair, can hit the fly ability to, fly. However, you have a stamina bar when flying. If your stamina bar reaches a 0 when you're flying, then Tails will start flying back down because, he got tired, which is pretty accurate to how he used to work and, how he still works in the original Sonic the Hedgehog games. Anyways, that's enough about Tails. Now we get to Knuckles. Knuckles is another stunner, but unlike Tails, who is a ranged stunner, Knuckles is a normal stunner. We get to his abilities now. Knuckles' first ability, and also very good ability, the punch. Knuckles, when near the EXE, can press the action ability to throw his fist out. Once you punch the EXE will get stunned. Then we got his second ability, which is the block ability. Knuckles will block for at least a couple seconds, I think. And if the EXE hits him while he's blocking, the EXE will pretty much just get, stunned. But it's not as longer as when you punch him though. It's a shorter stun. You can even block Colossus's charge abilities too, or even Sonic.EXE spin dash, I'm assuming. Anyways, that's enough of Knuckles. Now we got, Amy. Amy is another stunner, just like Knuckles. She got 3 abilities this time. 4 actually. We got her first ability, which is just her hammer. She can swing her hammer at the EXE to stun them. Then we get her second ability, which is the hammer spin, where you basically swing your hammer around to stun the EXE. However, the stun is not as longer as when you just swing your hammer normally at him. Then we got her third ability, which is the hammer throw, which is really fucking good when you get skillful with it. you aim your hammer and you throw it at the EXE to stun them. However, there's a cost to it if you hit him or miss. You don't have your hammer anymore, so you have to go back to grab it. Which, if you no longer have your hammer, you gain your fourth ability, roll. While Amy does not have her hammer, you can roll to basically avoid getting hit by the EXE. Now we get the next character, which is Cream. Cream is a support character, with her very good ability called Overheal, where basically she pretty much just heals you with temporary health. Pretty much what I mean by temporary health is that, yes, you get health back, but it's only temporary as they start to slowly drain down. But they can be utilized correctly in most ways. And then we got Cream's second ability, which basically she fucking starts sprinting fast, which can be useful to get away from the EXE, or useful to actually dodge the EXE's attack when trying to use Overheal on your teammate. And then we get, who's next on the list of Survivor? Yes, we get Sally, who is another support character. Now, Sally is pretty much, well, unlike Cream, who heals people, Sally gives shields to people, well, more like a force field, and pretty much the EXE has to force the shield out of there by just simply smacking it, or if the survivor is good at not getting hit, can outlast getting hit, and pretty much the force field goes away. And regardless if you get hit or not, if the force field goes away, the survivor will get a short speed boost. And another thing about the shield that Sally can give is that you can also give yourself the shield as well as Sally, which is really fucking good. Then we got Sally's next ability, which is, I don't know if she has that ability anymore. I'm assuming she still has that ability, Roll, which is basically you just roll to avoid getting hit by the EXE. Actually, I don't think that ability even exists anymore in 1.2. I don't know. I don't really play Sally that much, so it's hard to remember. But then we get her last ability, which is EMP. Sally will place down EMP. Actually, no. She unleashes an EMP to not really stun the EXE, more like to slow him down, which is really fucking good still. Because the EXE slows down, they're slow as shit for a few seconds. Sally is, while not as good as Cream, it's still fucking good when utilized correctly. Then we get to the next character, which is, of course, Dr. Ivo Robotnik, also known as Dr. Eggman, who is the worst fucking survivor in this goddamn game. Eggman used to be a stunner back in 1.0, 1.1, and even the early days of 1.2. He used to have an ability called Shock, where he unleashes an electric shock that can stun the EXE. But then, when the Halloween update came out, and Sonic.EXE the Disaster 1.2, he was reworked. No longer a stunner, now just a useless fucking camper with turrets, which are the useless fucking ability in this entire game. I will explain them real quick. First off, we're going to talk about his shitty turrets. Yes, we're going on a fucking rant for a moment because he is desperate need of some fucking tweaks because he is really not fucking useful right now. I'll still play as Eggman when I feel like it, but I will still call out the fact that he is definitely the worst pick of a survivor. Let's talk about those turrets. The turrets, basically, Eggman has 5 turrets. Eggman has to place these turrets whatever spot he chooses for. Once you place down the turrets, you have to start fucking mashing, well, a button to fix the turrets, to ready them up. Once the turrets are readied up, now they're ready for action. If they end up catching the EXE, they will begin to fire at them. And what does the turret do when they fire the EXE? slow him down. They just slow him down. Well, on paper that would sound useful, but the problem is it was poorly executed. Unlike Sally's EMP, which can actually slow you down fucking drastically, the turrets don't slow the EXE down as much. I mean, it's useful against someone like Colossus, because Colossus is slower than Sonic.EXE, but against just Sonic.EXE, it's really fucking just dog shit. Now we get to, well, of course, fucking goddamn, well, the fact that the turrets can really be destroyed in one hit. One hit from the EXE and that's it, the turret goes away, and you have to wait for a timer if you want to fucking place down another turret again. Sure, the minions don't insta-destroy it, but they still can destroy it in a couple of hits. So the turrets are still fucking useless. The turrets don't slow them down as much as you want them to, and the turrets get destroyed quite easily. And then we got his second ability, which used to be fucking useful too. But now it's quite not as useful as it used to be. The jetpack. Back then, you just click the jetpack and there you go, Eggman fucking goes flying. Now, the jetpack, while you can still go flying with the jetpack, it's not as good as it normally would be. Now, mainly just for you to get up higher to land on, well, spots that normally you can reach up by using the fucking jump pads. Or you can use the jetpack to, while on the floor, wait for the frigging bar to fill up to get a fucking speed boost, which is only good when you time it perfectly when the EXE approaches you. If you use it too late or too early, then just consider it useless. You might as well use it to avoid just getting attacked by the EXE for extra time before you get fucked up. Other than that, if you chose to play EXE, good luck being the first target because he is just not someone you would want to play as. He desperately needs of some tweaks. Either the developer himself, gives him some good buffs that will actually make him useful for the team of his rework, or Outlag has to completely revert him back to how he was in 1.0 and 1.1, and even the early days of 1.2. Because when he used to have the shock ability and his jetpack ability used to be fucking better, he was really one of the best characters in the game, being way more easier to use than Amy and Knuckles. But now, because of his rework, he is fucking dog shit. Now we get to the next character, which is, who the fuck is next? We got the 3 original survivors from Sonic.EXE. Then we got Amy, Cream, and Sally. Who's next after this? Oh yeah, Rouge. Rouge is not a stunner nor a support. More like some kind of teammate that can help with information. Let me explain. Rouge's first ability is to place down a sensor, where basically it can not only track down your teammates, but can also track down the EXE as well if they're within range of it, which is really fucking, well, can be useful if you place them at the right spots. Then we got Rouge's second ability, where she can basically, well, slide to avoid getting hit by the EXE, of course. Pretty much like Amy's roll ability, where she no longer has her hammer with her. Then we got her third ability, a flashbang. Well, you can drop a flashbang, and when the flashbang explodes on the EXE will be blinded, which is really good. And then we get her last ability, which is basically like a sensor, but instead of being a sensor to track where it is, it's a fucking bomb. And when you place down the bomb sensor, you can just let it sit there, and if you press the action ability button again, the sensor bomb will fucking explode. It will make a loud beeping noise before doing so. If you time it perfectly and the fucker blows up the EXE will get pushed back and get stunned from it. So, When Rouge is utilized correctly, she's fucking good. Like, really fucking good when utilized correctly. And then we get Shadow. Shadow is a stunner. However, unlike other characters whose stuns are actually really fucking good, Shadow stuns, while good, aren't, they don't last that long, of course. Shadow's first ability, where he can basically launch himself in the air, you either just let him land to gain distance away from the EXE, or you can hit the button again to do a fucking slam attack. And if you slam down at the EXE with that said slam attack, he gets stunned. Then we get Shadow's second ability, where you basically go up in the air and you can target the EXE. If you time it perfectly and land that dash attack on the EXE, they get stunned. Both of his abilities actually go really well together when comboed. You can use your first ability you can use the ability to jump in the air and do a slam attack on him first. Then you can combo it with the homie attack to just stun him again. You can do a full-on chain hit as Shadow, and it's fucking amazing and satisfying when you do it successfully. Shadow is really fucking good for the team when utilized well. Then we get to the next character, which is actually a character that is meant to take one for the team, Metal Sonic. Metal Sonic, unlike all the other characters, is actually meant to be a sacrifice for the sake of your team. We get the Metal Sonic's first ability, Push. Metal Sonic will use his boosters to charge straight up towards the EXE and grab him to push him away from, the team. After push ends, while holding the EXE, you let the EXE go, only for the EXE to suffer through a small stun. Then we get freaking Metal Sonic's, second ability, which is, the grapple hook. When you use the grapple hook, you can aim the grapple hook as Metal Sonic. When you fire the grapple hook at the EXE, you can grab the EXE with the grapple hook and pull him along towards you, which is risky because that risks you getting hit, obviously. Both of these abilities are really fucking good, even though they can be risky and get you killed because, Metal Sonic's whole thing is to sacrifice himself. Now we get his last ability, which never existed until the Halloween update, by the way, which only is ready when you go down once. Self-destruct. When you press it, Metal Sonic will make a loud beeping noise before the time starts ticking. Once the timer hits 0, kaboom! Metal Sonic fucking explodes, and it has a pretty decent blast radius. If Sonic.EXE gets blown up by the self-destruct, he not only does he get stunned for a pretty long duration, but he gets fucking pushed far away. Like, I'm not shitting you. The fucking explosion pushes him really far away from wherever the team is standing. However, at one cost. You die. Well, simple, because you fucking self-destructed. You're just fucking dead now. Which, hey, that's fine. You can just become a minion and just help the EXE kill the survivors anyway. So, you're not really just wasting your fucking time then, at this point, because you can just be the minion and kill the others, obviously. Because, it's fun. Anyways, that's enough out of Metal Sonic. Now we got two characters that are still pretty much new ever since they were added in the Halloween update. Blaze the Cat and Silver the Hedgehog. Let's go over to, Silver real quick. Silver has 3 abilities. We got his first ability, an orb. Silver will charge the orb, and when you fire the orb, you fire the orb. When the orb hits the EXE, they get stunned. However, the stun is not as long as Knuckles or Amy's stuns. Then we got 2 other abilities. Silver has a second ability where he can summon a force field. to block the EXE, pretty much, from going through. Which is actually really fucking useful if you think about it. Because the EXE gets close to you, you can use it to pretty much just screw over his chance of fucking hitting you. Which is good. But not for much though. Now we got his last ability, which is actually pretty useful. Silver has his last ability where he will give himself a speed boost. Well, at least a short speed boost to, well, at least gain the advantage of trying to avoid getting hit by the EXE. However, that is really good because it also helps your teammates as well. I'm not shitting when I'm saying this. If you use Silver's speed boost ability and your teammates are around a certain range to where you are, they will gain that speed boost as well. So, Silver is a mix between a stunner and a support character, which is fucking cool if you really ask me. Now, we get to Blaze the Cat, who is one of my favorite Sonic girls in the Sonic franchise, by the way. Blaze the fucking Cat. Who I main, actually. I actually main Blaze the Cat. I main her all the fucking time. Ever since her and Silver were released, and I end up loving to play as Blaze more than Silver, I main her. My second main being fucking Metal Sonic, by the way. Anyways, let's cut to, well, fucking Blaze the Cat. Blaze the Cat had two abilities, Fire Tornado and Heat Wave. Fire Tornado is pretty self-explanatory. You spin around as a Fire Tornado to stun the EXE, but the stun is extremely fucking short. Then we got her second ability, Heat Wave. When you use Heat Wave, Blaze will stand still and you have to spam a button to charge it up. Once the bar fills up, Blaze's hands will lit up in flames. Once you press the ability while her hands are in flames, you will do a fucking dash punch. And when you punch the EXE, the fuck? He will actually get stunned for for at least a decent duration. Blaze is a pretty good character when utilized correctly, and knowing the fact that I made her, I tell you what, I do really fucking good with Blaze. Anyways, that's enough with the survivors. Now we get to the best part. The EXE himself. So, first things first, we're going to talk about the main man himself. Sonic.EXE. The main bad guy of the entire freaking thing. Which is, of course, Sonic.EXE. So, of course, we're going to talk about Sonic.EXE and his abilities and such. So, his first ability is obviously his basic attack, and that's that. And then he's got his rest of his abilities. His next ability is obviously his most fun ability, the spin dash. You go into spin dash form, and you have to spam a certain button to charge up the bar. Depending how much the bar is charged, if you have the bar charged up high enough or even at max, then yeah, you're gonna spin dash really freaking quick. But if it's lower than that, yeah, you're gonna spin dash pretty slow as hell. Then we got his teleport ability, where he has to place down a teleportation sort of point at a certain spot. And once he does, he has to click a certain button to select which area he wants to teleport to. Of course, if he does hit the set button to which he wants to teleport to, then he'll just teleport, obviously. Then there's his indicator ability, where he will go invisible and will get an extra ability where he can summon decoys. And the decoys are obviously meant to fool the survivors. Even though the decoys are like the easiest abilities to deal with as survivors, because you can easily tell which ones to clone and which ones not to clone. But other than that, just a simple decoy ability to troll your friends most likely, or just troll anyone really. Then we got the laugh ability where he just laughs, nothing else. And then what's next? I'm assuming that's it. Oh, hold on, what's this? What did I list again? The basic attack, the spin dash, teleport, decoy, and laugh, and yeah, that's just about it. That's just about it, actually. Oh, and another thing about his basic attack is that you can also hold the basic attack to do a lunge attack instead of just a simple normal attack. But yeah, that's all I can really say about the main man himself. Now we're going to talk about the one broken character that everyone uses, by the way, almost everyone, Colossus. Now, I actually plan to do a future video where I talk about why people use Colossus almost too much. Because, yeah, you do go against Sonic.EXE himself on occasion when you're playing Sonic.EXE as when you're playing Sonic.EXE Disaster most of the time as Survivor. However, most of your matches you're going to encounter Colossus more often because people just like to play Colossus more. Now, like I said, about this upcoming video, or I'm not sure if it's going to be upcoming or not, but I do plan to make a video about that. Why do people play as Colossus more? But we don't know, but I'll talk about what I'm going to say in that video when the video comes out, obviously. But right now, I'm just going to talk about Colossus and his abilities. So Colossus is the second EXE in Sonic.EXE the Disaster. Back then, when he was released during the later times of Sonic.EXE the Disaster 1.2, he never had a name, so he was just referred to as either EXE2 or Big EXE. We just call him the Big EXE because he is taller than Sonic.EXE, while Sonic.EXE is known as Little EXE. So, what does good old Colossus do? Well, he's got a basic attack, of course, but unlike Sonic.EXE's basic attack, where you can either lunge or not lunge, he actually lunges immediately. He will immediately lunge towards you when you actually just attack. You hit the basic attack and there you go. You instantly will lunge. Then we got his laugh ability, which like I said, is shit, he just fucking laughs. Then we got his indicator ability, which unlike Sonic.EXE's indicator ability, you don't go invisible and it just makes your screen turn red and just reveals locations of survivors. And then we got the grab ability, which actually used to be one of Sonic.EXE's abilities back in 1.0, 1.1, and even the early days of 1.2, but now that belongs to Colossus now. And it's still a good ability when you get value from it. Then we got his ability, which is also good for damaging and traversal, just like Sonic.EXE Spin Dash, the charge. Colossus will charge at a straight line in immense speed. And that's pretty much it. However, you can also bump into walls too, or if you run to a place where you can no longer run, he'll just slow down for a sec before he continue running. But yeah, the charge ability is pretty good, which can also deal damage to you as well, which actually deals more damage than Sonic.EXE Spin Dash, shockingly enough. And then we got his last ability, which is really, really good against someone like Knuckles or Amy or something. The block. The block is, now, well, of course, the block. Colossus will cross his arms together, and if Knuckles or Amy even ends up hitting him, if Knuckles punches him or Amy swings her hammer at him, instead of him getting stunned like normal, instead, he blocks it. And he only gets staggered for like, what, a split for like a half a second? Anyways, that's all I can really talk about Colossus. Because again, I'm just talking about the characters and their abilities and such. Now again, I will make a future video where I explain like why the fuck do people play Colossus more than Sonic.EXE himself, considering the game is called Sonic.EXE Disaster, and yet I see more Colossuses than freaking the main guy himself. Anyways, that's enough talk with the characters. We're going to be talking about the maps, and well, the maps are just pretty self-explanatory. They're fucking very cool looking maps. Not only that, they're pretty much just maps from history of Sonic.EXE. You got like the hide and seek level, the hide and seek got 2. You got the dirt Sonic.EXE level, and it's just really all the levels from Sonic.EXE history pretty much. And they're pretty cool. In a 3D environment, of course, because this game is made in Roblox, but very cool. And that's just about it I have to say about this game. And I will say, in conclusion, Sonic.EXE is a really underrated masterpiece. And yeah, this game probably still gets updates and such, but you know, considering that this game is only being worked on by one guy, you know, development is going to be very slow this game. But that doesn't matter, because the content we got now is great as hell. And this game definitely deserves the praise that it deserves. Ever since the game became popular in 1.0, yeah, I can see why this game is such a masterpiece. The game is underrated now, but that doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, this game, Sonic.exe the Disaster, is a underrated masterpiece. And there you have it, my review on this underrated masterpiece, Sonic.exe the Disaster. And I'm gonna say, this video, well, it should have been done a long time ago, but unfortunately, when I was finished with half of the way of the video, or somewhat like, when I was done was like, I don't know, like fucking 70% of the video or so, I had to stop working on it for a moment because I needed more gaming footage and such. And I never really got to that because, you know, I had other things to do. But other than that, this is definitely a good time making a video talking about one of my favorite games on Roblox, which was Sonic.exe the Disaster. Now, I actually do plan to make more videos about Sonic.exe Disaster related topics. Like, for example, I plan to make a video talking about the fan games of Sonic.exe the Disaster. And I also plan to make a video, like the one I already brought up while talking in a review, why people are using Colossus more than Sonic.exe himself, and Sonic.exe Disaster, obviously. And even plan to make another video talking about just one Sonic.exe Disaster fan game. And I know you guys are going to be asking, wait, Mike, but you're going to make a video talking about the fan games already. Why are you going to make a video talking about just one fan game, even though you're making a video talking about fan games? Well, I'm glad you asked, because this specific fan game of Sonic.exe Disaster will have its own video. And not only that, it's too good to even be mentioned along with the other fan games. Like, it is so good to the point it definitely deserves its own video. Now, which one is it? Well, you guys are going to have to find out when the time comes. Anyways, I am Blue Cyber Studios, signing off.